Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and happy 420 to you all. I believe the lady you're looking for is here. A lot of people wanted to see this one, so let's all get ready to challenge our fate with the spotlight of Lucina.
I challenge my fate!
Lucina is the princess of Elise. She is the daughter of Crom and a distant descendant of the hero king Marth. She comes from a desolate future where Grima and his Risen managed to destroy the world. In her timeline, Crom and his wife are killed, and only Lucina and the other children manage to survive. Through a very special ritual called the Awakening, the children are sent back in time by Naga to another world where their parents are still young, with the intention of preventing history from repeating itself. Before being sent back, Lucina alters her hair and dons a mask she received from Jerome and takes on the appearance and name of the hero king Marth, one of her ancestors. This was so that Crom and the rest of the shepherds wouldn't recognize her birthmark, the brand of the Exalt, which would give away her heritage. She first encounters the shepherds in a forest near the Elysian capital, where some Risen who followed her through the ritual clash with Crom's shepherds. She intervenes, saving the life of Lisa in the process and thus earning Crom's trust, but she leaves shortly after, not wanting to alter history too much by mingling with her father and the shepherds. Her second appearance is in Regna Ferox, where she challenges Basilos champion Lonku to a match and wins decisively, becoming the new champion in this tournament. This directly causes her to square off against Crom and his shepherds, who were chosen as Flavius champions in the tournament. Inside the Feroxy arena, she faces off against her father in a duel and reveals her falchion to him, something which makes Crom quite confused. Despite his state of mind, however, Crom defeats Lucina and wins the tournament, earning himself an alliance with the barbarians. While this is never properly explained in the story, it can be speculated that Lucina threw the match deliberately, so that Elise would align itself with Regna Ferox, thus strengthening the nation in preparation for the wars to come. Lucina's third appearance in the story is in the Elysian capital, where she shows up to protect Emerin from the Plagian assassins poised to take her down. In Lucina's timeline, Emerin was killed by this very attack, and Lucina sought to alter the events by making sure Emerin did not fall, which she did succeed in doing, but only for a time, as history tends to repeat itself. In the process, however, her mask gets cut off by an assassin, revealing to Crom that she is not a boy, but luckily for her, he does not spot her brand, and thus her identity remains hidden. After preventing the assassination, she leaves once again, not wanting to get too close to her father. Lucina's fourth and more final appearance is in Plagia, where after a battle between the shepherds and a pack of Risen, she jumps in between Crom and a Risen assassin attempting to take his life. After saving him, Lucina cannot hold her emotions back any longer and reveals her brand of the Exalt to her father. The two embrace each other in a tearful reunion as Crom finally realizes who she is, as he had just become the father of the infant Lucina of his own timeline. Lucina accompanies Crom and his shepherds throughout their many battles, altering fate by fighting alongside them. She eventually succeeds in helping them beat the evil dragon Grima, finally completing her quest to change the fate of her father's previously doomed world. If she marries anyone, she stays in the world as his wife. Otherwise, she goes to Illistol, finds her infant self, and whispers in her ear that she will live a better life than she did, before disappearing without a trace. It is unclear if she goes back to her own timeline or if she continues to live in her father's world, but hidden.
Stay strong.
Lucina's appearance is very similar to that of her father, and also Marth, wearing a blue outfit with a tunic, tall boots, shoulder pads, and gloves. She has long blue hair and blue eyes, with a gentle but stern expression emanating from her face, and she also visibly possesses the brand of the Exalt, showing her true heritage. In her hand, she holds the divine blade, Falchion, passed down to her by her father in her own timeline. Lucina has a rather tomboyish appearance, with very few female curves to speak of, and this allows her to easily take on the appearance of a boy to hide her identity. Lucina has a very strong sense of justice, and is easily one of the most noble, courageous, and virtuous characters in the story. Unlike a lot of the other Awakening children, who all seem to suffer from some parental issues, Lucina has an extremely strong bond with her parents, especially her father, Crom. She's shown to be hardworking and dedicated, not hesitating to put her own life in danger to protect others. Lucina does, on the other hand, have a slightly odd personality. Her sense of humor is really dry, and her description states that she is the least likely in the army to get a joke. She's also shown to be slightly awkward in any situations that doesn't revolve around swordplay or fighting. It's clear that she spent most of her childhood learning how to wield a blade, but her parents never seem to have taught her much in the way of being a lady, as her sense of fashion is absolutely terrible. This doesn't seem to bother her a lot, but it does create some awkward moments in camp, like when she attempts to buy her mother a dress that turns out to be rather hideous, something Lucina seems to be completely oblivious to. Lucina struggles a lot with self-doubt, and she doesn't feel worthy of her great ancestry. She clearly thinks very highly of the hero King Marth, who is one of her predecessors, almost worshipping him like some sort of deity, thinking him to be a perfect, flawless king. If only she knew the terrible truth. For all her self-doubting and awkwardness, Lucina is undeniably kind and loving to those around her, and struggles hard to be a worthy princess in the eyes of the people. Her humility and sense of honor are without a doubt two of her strongest virtues.
You will not stop me! I challenge my fate! I say when it ends! Hope will never die! Whatever it takes.
Lucina is a unit that can be a bit confusing for newer players. She is a child unit, but unlike the other kids who pop up in various paralogs after their mother's respective S-rank supports are unlocked, Lucina will automatically join your party at the end of chapter 13. What you see displayed here are Lucina's base stats and growth rates before taking her parents into account. How you calculate her stats upon her join time is by combining her parents' base stats and growth rates with her own, and then dividing it by 3. The exact formula is actually a little bit more confusing than that, subtracting class-related stats and growths from the equation, but this gives you a rough idea of how it's all calculated. Lucina will first become playable in chapter 14, and based on her parentage, she could easily become one of the best units in your army. You have a choice between Sully, Sumia, Maribel, Olivia, and female Robin, as Chrom can't marry Lisa, Tarja, Pan, or Noe. Since Lucina joins your army at a set point during the game, the story kinda needs Chrom to marry someone beforehand so Lucina can actually have a mother, and if Chrom for whatever reason doesn't have an S-rank support yet, he will merely grab the closest female to him in the army, forcibly put a ring on her finger, and drag her off to the nearest church to be married against her will. In other words, if you want to have any control of who Lucina's mother is, you have to reach an S-rank support with said mother before the end of chapter 11, or at least have your desired mother hold more support points with Chrom than any other eligible female in his army. If you, for whatever reason, have not gotten a single love point with Chrom and another female, which is doable if you keep him far away from any other girl in the army that he can support with, you will actually get a random nameless maiden as Lucina's mother. Needless to say, this will result in a very weak Lucina, as she won't inherit any stats or skills from her mother. Getting the maiden is actually quite rare, as Chrom will usually get some love points with a eligible female unit at some point or another. But on a fun note, this actually happened to me on my very first playthrough of Awakening. Because I used a male avatar that was constantly paired up with Chrom as the backup unit, he never gained a single love point with anyone else. Needless to say, my Lucina got utter shit. Lucina comes with her own personal weapon, the Parallel Falchion, which is like a very beefed up version of Chrom's weapon. This sword has amazing stats, similar to that of a silver sword, and is also effective against wyverns and fell dragons. It can also be used to restore 20 hit points to herself, similar to a concoction that never runs out. This amazing sword will really boost Lucina's usefulness, and will be your go-to weapon in most situations, since it never breaks. If you plan on reclassing Lucina to anything, you should consider a class capable of wielding swords, as you really don't want to lose out on the Parallel Falchion. Making her a Paladin, Great Knight, or even Bow Knight is absolutely recommended, though you might also get some really good classes passed down to her by her mother, depending on who you choose to pair up Chrom with. Being a child unit herself, the only child Lucina could be the mother of is female Morgan, if she marries the Avatar. As if Morgan wasn't already overpowered enough, she will greatly benefit from Lucina's insane bases, growth rates, and skill set. However, many would perhaps argue that this is complete overkill, as Morgan is already one of the strongest characters in the game. At the end of the day, Lucina is a pretty straightforward unit. She can act like a secondary but much improved version of Chrom, or you can reclass her to something else to make her fill another role. Just plan a little bit ahead regarding who you want Chrom to marry with, and she should hopefully serve you quite well. Well, this spotlight is over, so it's time for me to—
I say when it ends!
Okay, you're not serious now, I hope?
Hope will never die!
Okay, now you're just fucking with me and saying random things. You have to stop it with the—
You will not stop me!
Alright, fine. Okay, you just let me know when the spotlight is over.
Now.
Okay, good. Happy now? Thank you for watching this character spotlight. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and a comment. It really helps out the channel a lot. If there is a character you want to see featured in a future spotlight, let me know about it in the comment section below. I want to give a shout out to my designer, Mina Tangerina, for designing the visuals of this spotlight, as well as my two script editors, Nasiro and Sonagi, who helped me with editing the scripts for the spotlights. Until next time, my name is Mengs, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye!